to another episode of the Destiny Truthcast. I am Lost Souls, and this is episode 31. And as always, today we have RedWingGirl with us. How are you doing today, RedWingGirl?
Pretty shitty. How are you doing?
Yeah. So, I don't know. We'll get into it, but I'm doing okay. We have a new community guest with us here today, the Grass Fever. How are you today, the Grass Fever?
Doing as good as I can be. A little salty.
Yeah, I think the salt will be flowing today. And if you could just let the community know a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I've kind of been here since beta on the 360, scrapped that, went to the PS4, and majority play as a PvE player, but casual PvP.
So you're a 360 to PS4 player. That's very interesting. How was that switch? And what did you think going from one console maker to the other?
Well, I had both 360 and PS3, so it wasn't a big shift, but most of my friends already switched to PS4, so I was the last one to make the jump.
Notice any differences in playability between the two?
Not too much. Not that I've seen, at least.
Right on. Well, glad to have you here today. So, I guess the first thing that we can talk about can be Iron Banner, since it is a very special Iron Banner week, which last program we were discussing and looking forward to as it would be Rift, and as we discussed, it's one of RedWingGirl's favorite game types, so we're really looking forward to getting in there and experiencing it in Iron Banner again. But how has your experience been so far, Grass Fever?
When I was running my Warlock, it was good. It wasn't too crazy, but going with my Hunter, it was just pretty bad. Pub stomp after pub stomp.
Were you able to get to rank 5?
Not with my Hunter. I barely even got to rank 3 before I gave up on bounty.
Now, are you playing solo or fire team?
I've been playing solo most of it. I went into the last Iron Banner Rift as solo as well, and did quite well.
So what have you been seeing this Iron Banner that's been different as you've played?
I've still been seeing lots of lag. Even though there's green bars, just a lot of the things that people have been figuring that would be solved by the CBMM just hasn't really came to fruition.
So CBMM, I guess we'll bring up the elephant in the room right here, right now, and as we all know, there was a change to matchmaking this week, and Bungie, even though they had said previously in the middle of November that they had their reasons for how the system worked, and connection based was already favored over skill based, and their famous quote that if you want to play relaxed matches, that's why they introduced private matches. They went ahead and decided to shift things more to connection-based matchmaking. And RedWingGirl, I know that you have some thoughts on this and your experience, this Iron Banner.
Yeah, so I'm going to try to not be salty, because I'm pretty salty right now. But this experience has been awful for me, and I've said it a million times before. I'm not primarily a PvP player, although I have played it a lot more since year one, because in year one I wasn't really able to compete. But since then, my group of friends who are way, way better than me, I've played with them, and I've always kind of been mid-range or bottom of mid-range, but that was because primarily I was playing with really skilled players. So I understood, the downside of being matched or being in a fire team with very skilled people, because primarily I would be playing against very skilled people. So I've always had the advantage of learning and gaining my skill for whatever it's worth with people that are much more skilled than I am. Rift, for me, is one of my favorite game types because I like objective-based games, and for me, this Rift has been a disaster. I mean, I've seen more mercies than I've ever seen. I've seen red bars. We've loaded in with 4 players against 6, or, we were just in a game where it was 6 against 3, and they were winning. And I've just never seen such lopsided games and unfun, stressful games ever. And for the first time ever, I'm not even rank 5. And I'm normally, by Friday or Saturday, rank 5 on all 3 characters. And granted, I haven't been able to play a lot, but I would at least expect to be at rank 5 by now, but I'm not. And that's because I can't win anything. And the argument from me isn't probably as strong for anybody else that doesn't always play PvP, or PvP is their primary game type. Most people that play Crucible just to play Crucible have their way to play, and they probably play fairly well. But for me, I'm not primarily a PvP player, so I actually enjoyed being matched with people in my skill base, just so that I could compete and be challenged and have, in my opinion, have fun. But now it's a complete wipeout. I don't really understand what has changed in terms of connection, but here's the result. The result is that for me as a casual player, being matched up with people that are better than me all the time, where I always get killed and I don't get any advantage, that's just not going to be what I'm going to do. I'm not going to play Destiny like that anymore. I'm not going to invest in my time playing Iron Banner or PvP just to get crushed every single game. And that's really unfortunate, because the best part of Destiny was skill-based matchmaking. There's still people out there that think that because they have a wireless connection that everything should be cool in the middle of the prairies and they should be able to connect to anywhere in the world and have great connections. That's the downside for them. But for me, I've never had that issue. I've always had good connection, basically, and I've been able to, play decently. So now it's different. Now I can't compete. This isn't enjoyable for me, and that makes me really sad, because that was the part that I liked about Destiny, that when I didn't want to run the same 5 strikes over and over and over again, and after the raids were done, there was something else for me to do. Well, now that's going to push me out. I'm not going to play PvP anymore. And so that's really sad. And I'm sure for a lot of people that play casual like I do and don't, devote their life to, PvP, they're probably going to feel the same way I do. They're not going to want to play as much, and the pool is just going to shrink. And, all of those people that are still diehards will have less people to play with. But I think that's what they want. I think most of the diehard Crucible people that we're red bar and we're having issues, want a better connection. So they're going to have better connection, but the people like me that they'll be able to crush will be diminished. It's not going to happen as much anymore for anybody. I'm just not going to participate in it anymore.
The grass fever, has that been kind of your take on it as well as you've gone into this Iron Banner?
Pretty much, yeah. I've always been like casual PvPer, and I stayed out of year 1 as well because of everything that was happening there, how insane it was, and went into PvP more or less when House of Wolves was released. Tried that, did poorly as well, but wanted that Thorn. And ever since the skill-based matchmaking, it's actually been a lot more on fair playing level, I would say. I haven't had to go up against gods of the Crucible or even people well below my skill level. I'm just not really a fan of what they've done.
And you were telling me you were tracking kind of your stats and progress on Destiny Tracker, and you've seen the impact that the change in play has made.
Yeah, like I said to you previously, I had entered this Iron Banner as a top 1%er on Rift, which has been my favorite game mode for ever since it was released, actually, as I prefer the objective based. But I was at top 1%. I ran my Warlock to rank 5, and I was still top 5% in the Diamond Tier 1. And just trying to finish the bounties on the Hunter after everything went to hell, I'm down into the Bronze Tier 3, like 70%. And just all that progress I put into it over the last year is just right out the door.
Yeah, so I played day before yesterday. We won our first match, and then we proceeded to lose every single match after that. RedWingGirl and I played, I think 3 or 4 matches this afternoon before we got on here to do the podcast. And one of the things that was interesting is the last match we played was probably the laggiest match I've seen in not just Iron Banner, but PvP in probably the last year. Wouldn't you say, RedWingGirl, that last match we played?
Yeah, that's pretty laggy.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, people just literally all over the place. I mean, it's just...
Look.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, it just really comes down to this. There's a philosophy. There's 3 philosophies. There's mine, which is everyone should be able to play this game, and skill-based allowed that. It allowed everyone to play in classes. But here's the thing. So now we have these 3 different things. There's the people that want to play, in their own skill-based, and then there's the people that want straight-up connection. They want skill-based taken out of it completely, and then there's the people that want dedicated servers. So I don't know what Bungie can do to improve the connection-based for everyone across the board, but this isn't going to be the answer, because people like me, or casual people like me, are not going to commit to PvP if we're just going to get crushed all the time. It's not going to happen. And the argument that really annoys me the most, when I see it the most, is that you don't get better if you don't play people better than you. You don't get better if you don't watch streamers crush other people to see how they did it. You don't get better if you don't watch your own videos and see your own screw-ups. That is not what I'm here to do. I'm here to play the game. If I improve, it's because of what I've decided that I can do better for myself as I'm playing the game. If that's guns or supers or whatever. So my experience on Destiny has to be what I feel that I'm going to get my most enjoyment out of. If they decide to go with dedicated servers in D2, or they keep the same model, it has to be improved. It's the only 2 options.
Well, and going to that argument, and I've seen the responses, and you just don't play, the game's not for you, yada yada, shit like that. But going to the comment of you don't get better unless you're playing better people, it was a bullshit argument to begin with, because you were playing against better people. Because like you said, we play with our friends, and we play with friends that are really good PvPers. And when we team with them, we are, through skill-based, going up against players that are higher skill ranking than us. The only thing this does is it makes, again, for the top tier, they can go back to the pub stomping, don't have to worry about playing people at their own level, don't have to worry about their KDs taking a hit because they're playing people as good as them, don't have to worry about losing matches because they're playing players as good as them. And so, again, yeah, it's a bullshit argument. And for Bungie to, sit there and go through in the middle of November this explanation of why they have the algorithms that they do, that they use skill-based and connection-based for a reason. They increase skill-based in year 2 because of all the problems in year 1 with players quitting out of matches and all the shit that went on. I mean, it was a shit show, and people say, yeah, year 1 was the greatest thing ever. Well, year 1 wasn't the greatest thing ever. There were a lot of fucking problems in this game in year 1. The forums have been full of them, and people forget what all those problems were. They forget that the lag was there in year 1. They forget that all the quitting was there in year 1. And to play this game now, and for players like you, RedWingGirl, and you, the Grass Fever, who go into PvP as casuals, and you feel like you're getting pushed out, it's just really fucked up. And to hear how this change has affected you and your perception of the game, it's just really sad. It's just really sad, and I don't understand just how they can not realize what a punishing thing this is to players that just want to go and just play the game and be able to compete.
Well, they clearly caved in to the complaints. I mean, and look, I want the community to be happy. I want everybody to be able to enjoy this game and feel like they're getting something out of it. I was under the impression, and I've always been under the impression, that Bungie wanted this game to be for everybody. And I was under the impression that the skill base was their way of bringing everybody into the pool to allow them to actually enjoy that. And that's why I got into it. But if they caved in, and it's more important for their 1%, streamer base to go in and pub stop people so that people like me will no longer play the game, so that they think I'll be the one to watch the Twitch user pub stomp people like me, then they're wrong. I just don't feel like that's going to be the trade-off. But if, for them, that is who's going to save the game, is the Twitch person and the people that are really good who stream. I guess that's the bottom line, right? That's the bottom line. They need to make money, and they need their streamers to be successful, and they can't have those top streamers that have quit on them. They need to keep them. So I feel like this is a business move for them. This is the way it's going to be. And for the rest of us that had the chance to enjoy this game for a year and a half, those days are over.
And the Grass Fever, has this pushed you away from PvP? You still foresee yourself playing PvP, or is this just a deal breaker for you with this change?
I can see it pushing me away from PvP completely. Like, over the last couple of days, I've actually went back and started playing Prison of Elders again, and I've actually got a raid set up for Crota and another one for Vault Glass for later on this week. I'll just go back to PvE player again, like I was in year 1. I just can't really get over the whole Bungie logic on this whole situation.
Well, let me ask you this, as a PvE player, is there enough in this game right now, PvE-wise, to keep you engaged? Is there enough there to keep you invested, or what do you feel this game needs PvE-wise to maintain you playing?
I'm not sure what it needs, but it's definitely pretty stale with the PvE side right now. Like, I don't even go into the new Wrath of the Machine. I do not like that raid whatsoever, which is kind of sad because Vault of Glass was my favorite, and it's got a lot of similarities between the two. But that being said, the strikes are all the same over and over and over. There's no point in playing any of the story mode. You don't get anything from it. Loot, all you get is a small amount of experience, which doesn't really help you at any point anymore after you're already done the end game.
And RedWingGirl, I know that one of the big frustrations still is beyond the PvP is the PvE and the lack of them investing anything meaningful into it. I know they're doing the strike scoring, but it's just been a fucked up week in Destiny, and it's just kind of sad to see how it's played out. And I know Deej put out a tweet at the start of the week, people be careful what you ask for, and took a lot of heat for that. And I didn't have a problem with the tweet, but on the flip side of that, though, is that shows me that, Bungie understand that the shit is coming down the hill from doing this, which just kind of makes me question why the change rolled forward to begin with, because they had to have known. There's no way they didn't know what the ramifications and the fallout from this would be.
Well, clearly, I mean, I didn't take it as, people said that it was rude, and, why would you think that it was rude unless you knew it was true? Like, if you didn't think that there would be consequences for the outcome of this, and you were for it, then you should agree with it. There shouldn't be any backlash on it. I mean, I felt like it was a the response to it was a little bizarre. Like, I just felt like, he said it how it's going to be. I mean, for the people that, so there was an argument, or not an argument, there was a post a couple weeks ago where this kid basically said, I'm getting matched with these pro players and these streamers, and I was watching them, on Twitch as they were crushing me and all this other stuff, and I'm sick of this. I need connection-based matchmaking. And everybody in that post were saying, well, then you need skill-based matchmaking. I don't think that a lot of people understood what was going to happen when skill-based was reduced and connection-based was increased. And I think there's been a lot of misunderstanding around it. But I knew what it was going to mean, and I knew this was going to happen. And the 2 times that I've logged in, or, the 2 days that I logged in and played a lot, the outcome was what I expected. Mercy after mercy after mercy after mercy. Couple people here, couple people there, 2 against 6, 3 against 5. People quitting, people standing there. I noticed people just standing there, people just holding their, ghosts in the middle of nowhere, disappearing, people not doing the objective. I mean, it has just been a shit show. I'm so upset that my most favorite game, Rift, was the game that turned me off to Destiny PvP. That's the thing that I guess that's the most bummed out thing for me.
Yeah, it's there's not a lot to add to that. I mean, it's just, like I said, it's just really sad that's what it's come to. And again, knowing how much you love the game type and particularly looked forward to this Iron Banner, and for them to again make this change before it and do this to it, it's just I don't know. I hope Bungie thought this through, and whether it's for the betterment of the game and the community, I guess they'll find out. Well, let me ask you both this. We have coming up this Tuesday another update dropping with SRL. Is this something that you're looking forward to still, or has this experience with Destiny this last week and Iron Banner and the matchmaking changes, has that changed your view on this upcoming update?
I'll be back for SRL for sure. It's pretty fair ground. Everybody's on the same base at the beginning. There's not really too much, I don't know. Yeah.
PvP is, for me, is over, but I am looking forward to the dawning. Hopefully there's something interesting with that, but I've gotten pretty much everything I can out of this game. The other thing with SRL that kind of really irritates me is that book. They're going to delete that book before they go public with the next one. So there's actually nothing that I'm going to be able to get from my old book that I purchased for $10. So there's no way that I'm going to purchase another one, because if I don't happen to finish it in time, then I'm out whatever they're going to charge for that book. So lesson learned there. I'm not going to buy another book. So
I didn't see that they had said that they're not going to carry the old book forward.
They're not carrying the old SRL stuff forward. So, you lost out. And that was one of the things that I was hoping that I could at least finish the book, but that's not going to happen. So, yeah.
I also wasn't aware of that issue. If that's the case, I won't be buying any other book, and it's a waste of money at this point. It could be spending on other games.
So you're not going to race me. That's not going to happen, right?
Souls, I love to joke and play around with you, and SRL would have been fun to play around with you, but I got to tell you, I know that I'm being salty right now, but I am salty. This is really disappointing for me. They have really gone the wrong route on this. And, Sinch had a great post about how divided this community is now because of the CBMM and SBMM. So what ends up happening is people are just going to be against each other, and it's going to be another argument, and people aren't going to get along, and there's going to be all this complaints, and it's another circle down the drain for the community. And I don't know. His point is that this is what Bungie wants, that they can just say that, well, it's not our fault. It's because everybody wanted connection based, and Deej can throw out there, "I told you so," and then everybody can get mad at him, but then not actually look at the overall issue. And so he is right in the fact that it's going to pit players against players, and they are right. I'm not gonna want to have a conversation with somebody who keeps telling me, well, you better start looking at, yourself on YouTube, and you better start looking at Twitch streamers to see how to play better, and you better, get good scrub, or this game isn't for you. That's not a dialogue that is meaningful. It's just not going to work. And I'm so disappointed that this is how they felt that they were going to save the community, by caving into this, well, connection will serve everything. And I just don't see that that's happening. There's still red bars. There's still connectivity issues. There's still mismatched games. And blowouts on top of it all is not going to make anybody walk away from their 2 or 3 hours of gameplay and be satisfied with this game. I'm really disappointed that this is the choice that they've made. And it really bums me out that I'm so salty about it, because I don't want to be salty about it. I love this game. I play this game probably more than most people out there. I'm so disappointed with Bungie in this decision. I feel like they did it. They did it to punish everybody. Say, fine, you guys want connection-based matchmaking? Here you go. Good luck with that.
I want to read, you reference posts, and Surekill had a really good post on this. What in the world have you done with the Crucible? I won't read the whole thing, but just a little bit of it. And he said, here we go again, from one extreme to the next. I played yesterday and today, and I could tell immediately something wasn't right. Lo and behold, I read the weekly update, and the pieces fall into place. Before we start patting backs and handing out congratulations, let's be real about a few things first. SBMM was the only thing keeping this relatively fun. Yes, you had the occasional red bar, you had the getting shot through walls once in a while, but these instances were few and far between, meaning they very rarely happened. So what do? We get a bunch of KD hacks blowing these instances way out of proportion to save less than 1% hit on their KD, moan on and on about playing people in Austria or Brazil or whatever, real drama queens, preaching on here and Reddit every day about connections, starting petitions, and a whole bunch of other nonsense, fueled as well by popular streamers who, let's face it, always have a fire team at their disposal, whether they suck or not, and thus the hive mind, the small percentage of like-minded players looking for any excuse they can find why they get outplayed, which of course is lag. The Lee Harvey Oswald of Destiny bombard Bungie with anti-SBMM hate, and so we get this. And then they said, further down, the fact is this is an overreaction to negative feedback from a small group of players that equate skill to dropping 40 plus kills in a match, inflating their ELOs as well as their egos, and blaming mysterious lag that almost never happens as a reason why they can't. And another thing, to those who will say get good, take your beatings and get better. Again, we thought we were. The game has been out for almost 3 years. We have had these settings for at least 2 of those years. Now you want to pull out the rug and say get good? I don't think so. What happens when players can't stay alive long enough to be competitive? They leave matches. Bungie really should have given some thought before indulging this knee-jerk reaction. Reverting this already plagued game back to the Stone Age pub stompings of COD is not the answer to balancing the Crucible. Good thing Destiny 1 is almost to an end, because if you keep these settings, it's going to end anyway.
Yeah, he had a great post. It was a great post. I mean, he said exactly what I felt. Like after 2 years, all of a sudden, like now I have to do all of this stuff to become this player that I'm never going to be. I'm not ever going to be, I'm not going to be able to compete against the top players of the world or whatever. And I realize as I get older that I'm not going to be able to compete with the best of them. But that's what made Destiny great, is that I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to be put in a situation where I'm completely outclassed, with people that will, of course, always do better than me. I can watch 1 million videos of myself play and look at something and say, damn, I wish I could have pulled the trigger faster, or shit, I wish I could have turned around quicker, or hell, I wish I would have stood back, or whatever. I mean, I can say that till the cows come home, but that's not going to make a difference if I can't react as quickly as everyone else does. And that's what made Destiny good. And I would suggest to anybody who creates a game that they want people of all ages to play their games, not just young kids. I mean, gamers weren't born today or 15 years ago. Gamers have been around for a very long time, 40 plus years, and the population of gamers is aging. So the games need to be able to keep up with the aging population of gamers, in my opinion. And this is kind of like, for me to read a comment telling me to get good scrub from a 15-year-old just is like okay, whatever. I don't know how to respond to that, because I'm not in it to be an isolationist or to tell someone else that they are going to just have to suffer. I truly want the community of everyone in Destiny to enjoy their experience. But if it means that there's a small percentage of people that are so good that they can't connect to each other because they're so few and far between, and they have red bars because they're connecting with somebody in Spain and Brazil and all these other countries, then I don't know how they fix that. That's not something that you can fix, I guess, other than maybe dedicated servers. I don't know if dedicated servers is going to fix that either. I really don't know. But to throw out the rest of us, which I think is more like 80%, is pretty bad. But going back to what I was trying to say is I'd like to really know what the general age of people who play on Destiny. Is it mostly younger people, or is it a mix between all ages, or what's the average gamer in Destiny is what I'd like to know.
We've been gaming. We've played shooters from back when shooters started, and it's the whole, again, get good argument coming from people that don't want to play players at their own skill level. It just is really ironic to me and just hilarious. But the Grass Fever, just any kind of final thoughts on this and the reaction that you've seen on the forums and posts that you've seen on the subject?
I'm right there with both of you. I've been playing games for a very long time, like RedWing, since before a portion of the population on Destiny has even been born. I remember playing Pong way back when, yeah, when it was fun. But yeah, a lot of the people, a lot of the responses that have been coming on here is just atrocious from a lot of these people. They have no constructive criticism to say, just insults. That's the only way that a lot of these people are able to even talk. I don't know why.
Well, I know you had a favorite post that you had been telling me about from Sith Lord Osiris. I thought that was a pretty good one.
Oh yes, the last one that he actually posted. What was it again? I'll just catch it here. Oh yeah, this is what Crucible looks like now, and it's a video of that show Parks and Rec, and it has Chris Bosch just constantly dunking the ball over and over and over, and there's people complaining like they're 50 points ahead. How is this even still fun? And the point of that is nobody actually gets better from these kinds of stompings. All it is it just discourages people to play. In turn, it's just going to drop the player pool exponentially, and they're going to end up playing the exact same matches that they had before they started complaining and Bungie reverted to matchmaking.
And I think that was a great comment. And RedWingGirl, your thoughts on what he just said, I thought was really a great summation that no one's going to get better from these beatings that we've been experiencing the last few days playing this game.
Yeah, I mean, I for just the last few games that I was playing, I mean, these guys were already back, or pushing us to the point where most of us that were spawning in were just getting killed because they weren't getting killed. So they had free control over the entire map. And I know that there's been a lot of complaints about Rift, specifically about spawn killing, but it's different when you're getting pushed back to your spawn. And I even had a couple instances where I was receiving messages waiting for a safe space to spawn kind of messages, which I've never seen before. So it was taking me longer to actually spawn back in because they were dominating the whole map. And and we're talking about like 20,000 to 2,000 games, and finally Shaxx would be like, this is enough. You're mercied. You can't even get your shit together and get out of the frickin' spawn spot, is basically what he was saying. Well, what the hell is that? And that video was perfect because that's the reality of it. Nobody's going to be able to improve when you're playing against people that are much better than you are. It's impossible to get your shit together fast enough to figure out what it is you need to do and how you need to improve. It's just, it might work for some people who want to get their head beat in over and over and over. Maybe some people learn from that, but I don't. I don't learn from that. So I thought it was a great example.
Yeah, I thought it was perfect, and Sith Lord always has a lot of good stuff that he puts up, and appreciate you sharing that with us, Grass Fever, because I hadn't been on and seen that one yet, and very good post, Sith Lord, if you're listening. So I guess we can see if there has been a favorite moment playing Destiny in the last 2 weeks. I'll go to you, Grass Fever, and see if there's been something that you've enjoyed particularly in the last week or so playing the game.
I'd say probably my favorite part in the last 2 weeks was actually going back to the Prison of Elders. I forgot how much fun it was I finally got to pub stomp Skolas after getting pub stomped so much in the Iron Banner. It felt good to actually get aggression out on him. But, yeah, other than that, it's been pretty much the same up until the matchmaking settings. Now, I'm just going to be staying out of the Crucible completely.
RedWingGirl, has there been anything of redemption in the last week or so that you've played?
No, this game is hell. I'm not. I've completed the bounties on my Titan. I'm a level 4, and I haven't been able to win any matches, so I'm not going to be able to get to level 5 unless by some miracle. So, no, this has been one of the worst experiences I've ever had in Destiny. It's been terrible for Iron Banner. It's the first time I haven't gotten to level 5. And I'm extremely disappointed. I don't have any good things to say about it, and I just don't understand. You know, if the shocking thing is that now I think I understand the level of what Bungie can do. Bungie can't do matchmaking for the raid like everybody wants because there were so many complaints about it that they should have caved in and done the matchmaking. Forget the optional. They should have just done the matchmaking with all the complaints. But it's clear to me that they can turn the dial and turn off skill-based matchmaking and do it to connection-based matchmaking. So that's what we should see what Bungie can do. They can't do transmorg. They can't do it. So we can complain about it and ask for it, but they can't do it. Otherwise, they would have done it because millions of people have asked for it. There's all kinds of things that people have asked for, and they always come out with, well, we don't think, you know, or we just, oh yeah, we'll put it up on a whiteboard or whatever. What it comes down to is that they can only do certain things, and when you complain enough, they'll change it if they can do it. And this is one of those things that I think they can do, and they did it. They caved in to the people that whined about it. That's what I get out of it.
Fully agree with you there.
Well, I don't really have a favorite moment per se, but it is a favorite moment, but not in the best way. But it's a very fitting moment for the last week of playing Destiny. And so I was playing last night with one of RedWingGirls and my friends. I'm Enchantress, and we were playing the Nightfall, and so we were about halfway through, and I realized that I didn't have any skeleton keys on me. And I was like, fuck, because I've always wanted to get a grasp with high stability. And so I thought about, you know, going and trying to get one and dropping back in, and I said, fuck it. So we got to the end. I died like a million freaking times over the course of it. I don't know what my problem was, but I just died repeatedly. But we beat it, and so a key dropped for me. But it did the glitch where all the enemies started pouring out after Omnigul died. And so my teammate was trying to kill the enemies so I could get to the chest. And I'm frantically trying to get there, and I'm on the wrong side of it, and it's not opening, and shit's shooting me left and right, and I'm dodging. And finally I got around to the right side of the chest, and health's dropping, hit X, got it open with like 1 second to spare, and I got the fucking bond. Got the Warlock bond, and it was just perfect. It was just the absolute best summation of this experience, and it sucks because we all love this game. We all love this game. I mean, that's why we're here. That's why we're on the forums. You know, it's why we do the podcast. Why we log in and play. You know, and we've all been there since day one. And it sucks to have an episode like this that is so just full of despair over where this game is at the moment, when it's something they completely controlled, and we tried telling them for weeks that this would be the end result if it's what they did. And again, from Deej's tweet, you know, they knew this would be the result. And I agree with you, RedWingGirl, that they did this to just kind of say, okay, you asked for it, here you are, deal with it, you know, which it's kind of fucked up because it's the majority of the player base that are going to deal with the negative side effects of that, you know? And so, I don't know, you know, the fact that SRL is coming out in 2 days, and I hope, Bungie, that you're listening and you've listened to these past episodes and how much we've looked forward to this, you know? And if SRL comes out and RedWingGirl and I aren't racing, I'm going to be fucking so disappointed in what you've done with this game. You know, I'm already disappointed, but I mean, it's just to push players away that love this game and play as much as we do and invest as much time in it. It's just, you know, and not saying that you know, any one particular player should be catered to, but the fact is that you knew and you explained that you had both connection based and skill based, because there are many different people that play this game and you want to be inclusive to all of them. And that's why you had the mixture of the settings. So the people that are high skilled can enjoy the game, and the people that just want to go in and play were still able to enjoy the game. And this just kind of flies in the face of that, and just turns everything to the elite end of the spectrum, and it's just, you know, it's just kind of fucked up.
Well, I think they made a choice, and the choice is that they really wanted that streamer crowd to excel, and everyone else will just fall into whatever category. They either stay in and suffer through it, or they drop out. And so they made a choice. So, you know, I get it. I know that this entire podcast, for me, I'm usually mostly upbeat. I'm usually mostly pro Destiny, and, you know, I try to look in the positive on everything. And, you know, I hope that people don't misunderstand my position. I'm not whining because I feel like I'm entitled to something. I'm disappointed that the game that I've been playing for the last few years has changed and moved to a space that I can no longer enjoy. So it's really about me and my personal feeling. If someone else is getting a better experience from it, then I'm happy for you. And I don't mean that in any kind of condescending, mean way. If the game is improved for other people and they're able to enjoy it better now, then that's great.
And the Grass Fever, any final thoughts on this episode and the things we've discussed and just all this topic?
I actually made this comment on the forums. It was saying about how they're basically hanging out the majority to dry and to be fed on by the wolves with this whole update, and that's just not right. Like, they're letting the minority win over the majority. I'm not trying to say anybody's wrong here or anything, but it's just right messed up how their whole decision process on this whole matter happened.
Well, I guess that will be another episode of the Destiny Truthcast. As always, I want to thank you, RedWingGirl, for being here today. The Grass Fever, thank you very much for joining us today. It was great having you on.
Thanks for having me.
To all those that are on the forums participating, we appreciate your thoughts on the topics and on the episode. Look forward to reading your comments. Appreciate you listening, as always. If you would like to, you know, participate on a future episode, get in touch with us and let us know. If you are looking forward to SRL, interested to hear your thoughts on that, as well as what this experience has been for you with the Matchmaking Changes and Iron Banner and Rift and everything that's gone on this week. So thank you to everyone again, and I hope you all have a wonderful night. Thank you.